classic series between two terrific teams.
Has it down the lane. He's run out of time. The Bucks don't get off his shot. The Miami Heat become the 6th in NBA history to win as an 8th seed in the first round.
The Indiana Pacers tasting postseason success for the first time in 10 years as
the Milwaukee Bucks just lost in the first round to the Indiana Pacers this year. And while the Milwaukee Bucks' two best players were injured during this series, and Chris Middleton and Bobby Portis both dealt with issues, the Milwaukee Bucks' problems go deeper than just injuries. Pinning a lack of success on the Milwaukee Bucks organization in recent years just because of injuries would be a lame scapegoat. But with that being said, digging deeper, what's really the root cause of the Milwaukee Bucks' numerous early playoff exits? Before we get into recent events, it's best if we start the story of disappointment from the very beginning. In the early to mid 2010s, the Bucks were a complete dogshit franchise. This team and city was known as a complete dump compared to other teams. Milwaukee in this time frame would routinely finish seasons with under 40 wins. So let's get into our time machine and go back 10 years ago in the past. On July 31st, 2013, a pretty important trade went down between two of the NBA's most notable garbage teams. It was the trade of Brandons. The Bucks traded Brandon Jennings to the Pistons for Brandon Knight, and I don't even want to try to pronounce the second guy's name, and most importantly, Chris Cash Money Middleton. And something else happened that would completely change the landscape of the Bucks franchise happened this offseason.
Bucks select Giannis Antetokounmpo from Athens, Greece.
The Milwaukee Bucks with the 5th pick in the 2013 draft, I don't know why 14 teams passed on this guy, drafted the Greek Freak. And from this day on, the Bucks had their core. And saying the 2013-14 season for the Bucks was a bad season would be a severe understatement, like 18th worst season of all time bad. The Bucks led by Brandon Knight and Chris Middleton, who were both 22 years old, and Giannis coming off the bench, led the Bucks to a whopping 15 wins. However, the 2014-15 season was a step in the right direction for Milwaukee, making the playoffs. With an extremely young core of Brandon Knight, Giannis, who is starting now, Chris Middleton, rookie Jabari Parker, and former Rookie of the Year winner Michael Carter-Williams, the Bucks were able to get the 6th seed in the East with a perfectly even 41-41 record. Yeah, if you thought the East sucked now, this Bucks team somehow managed to get a 6th seed. And after a physical series where the Bucks were able to steal 2 games from the Bulls with Jimmy Butler, Derrick Rose, and Pau Gasol, the Bulls won in 6.
Right now, you have to hustle back. Numbers again, and Mike Dunleavy splash.
You knew it was coming.
But once things looked like they were going in the right direction for the Bucks, they finished off the 2015-16 season with an awful 33-49 record. But just like that in the following year, the Bucks pretty much bounced back to where they were in 2015, finishing with a 42-40 record in 2017. Well, this team could have been a lot better this year. Key guys like Chris Middleton and Jabari Parker were both injured for most of the year, but Giannis took this as a challenge, raising his points per game from 16 the previous year to 22 this year, winning the Most Improved Player award and making his first All-Star appearance. And the Bucks rookie Malcolm Brogdon won Rookie of the Year. However, the Bucks fell victim to the DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry duo in Toronto, losing in 6 games. But as a wise man once said, a smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. It's 2018, and unfortunately, you know you're a mid-team and gonna lose in the first round when Tony Snell is in your starting lineup, because the Bucks fell victim to the 19-year-old from St. Louis. The Celtics with Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Terry Rozier beat the Bucks in a vicious 7-game series. However, at this point, the duo of Giannis and Chris Middleton was really starting to become scary, averaging a combined 47 points. But what happened in 2019 marks a new chapter in Milwaukee Bucks basketball. The 2018-2019 NBA season marks a time where the Milwaukee Bucks really started to make some noise in the NBA. Giannis Antetokounmpo at the age of 24 won his very first MVP.
Valuable player goes to Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Chris Middleton also made his first All-Star appearance, and Milwaukee got a new and improved head coach with Mike Budenholzer. However, the Bucks were in desperate need of a big man, and who better to get during the offseason than Brook Lopez from the Lakers, good old Splash Mountain. The Bucks core of Giannis, Middleton, Eric Bledsoe, Lopez, and Malcolm Brogdon was finally ready to make some noise this postseason, finishing as the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. It started off with a cakewalk in the first round, beating Detroit in 4 games. Then the Bucks got their revenge on the Celtics, beating them in the conference semifinals in 5. The Bucks were cruising at this point. They even went up 2-0 against the Raptors. But remember kids, never doubt Kawhi in the playoffs, because the Raptors went on one of the greatest postseason runs ever in 2019, where they handed the Bucks 4 straight losses. A disappointing end of the season, but it was a lesson that this young core needed to learn. In the 2019-2020 season, the Bucks once again finished as the number 1 seed in the regular season, and then the pandemic happened and the NBA bubble was a thing. Giannis won the MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. The only other players to do that in NBA history are Michael Jordan and Hakeem Olajuwon. With virtually the same core of Giannis, Middleton, Bledsoe, Lopez, and an addition of Wes Matthews, this team had a championship on their mind. Besides an ugly Game 1 against the Magic in the first round, they cruised past them, winning in 5. But it's never going to be fun when you run into Jimmy Butler and Eric Spoelstra in the playoffs, because the Bucks unfortunately blew their NBA bubble hopes to Miami, losing in 5 games. This early playoff loss really stung. The team that was supposed to take the leap over the conference finals didn't even make it there. But 2021 goes down as a special year for the Milwaukee Bucks. While the Milwaukee Bucks didn't have the same regular season dominance in 2021, finishing as a 3 seed compared to their normal 1 seed, they were still ready to achieve their big goal. The Bucks made a crucial move during the offseason where they traded Eric Bledsoe and George Hill and some draft picks to get Sam Merrill and defensive star guard Drew Holiday. Holiday was so important for elevating the Bucks defense. The Bucks, with the number 3 seed, got their sweet revenge against the number 6 seed Heat, sweeping them in 4 games. Then the Bucks went on to play the Brooklyn Nets in the conference semifinals, where this iconic play in Game 7 by Kevin Durant, where he made a 3 but his foot was on the line when he shot that shot, which forced overtime, and then the Bucks won the game. Then in the conference finals, they were able to beat the Atlanta Hawks in 6 games, but not without this horrific injury from Giannis.
Trying to lob to Capella, but the ball went in.
And someone's down. And it looks like it's...
But miraculously, he only missed 2 games in the conference finals and was able to come back fully healthy for the NBA finals. However, after the Bucks went down 2-0 against the Suns, things were looking doubtful in Milwaukee, but the Bucks just had to lock in real quick.
Booker the drive, gets inside, leans in, knocked away and stolen by Holiday. Phoenix has to foul, and a pinnacle ball throws it down!
And just like that, the Milwaukee Bucks had ascended the mountain. They achieved their big goal, but unfortunately for Milwaukee, this might be the only time they ascend this peak. The Milwaukee Bucks in the 2021 and 2022 season felt pretty good about their core championship roster, keeping virtually the same pieces like Giannis, Middleton, Drew, Brook, and Bobby Portis. They added Grayson Allen from the Grizzlies to add some shooting around Giannis. The Bucks finished 2022 as the 3rd seed once again, losing the tiebreaker with the Celtics for that 2 seed. They cruised past the Bulls in the first round. However, Chris Middleton in the process came down with a season-ending injury. Without their second best player, others would need to step up. Round 2 was against the Celtics, and after a hard-fought 6 games, the series was tied 3-3, only for the Bucks to get absolutely mopped in Game 7, where they couldn't hit a shot if the rim was the size of the ocean. So now it was the start of the 2022 and 2023 season, and the Bucks once again found themselves at the top of the regular season record book, finishing with a 58-24 record, placing first in the Eastern Conference and the best team in the league as well. And Uncle Jimmy from down in Miami paid the Bucks a visit again, and let's just say it wasn't a happy visit. While the Bucks were dealing with injuries to Giannis for 2 to 3 games, the Bucks were still toast even when he came back. So I think after these last 2 playoff shortcomings, it was time for a retool of the roster. And the Bucks did just this by getting Damian Lillard, but trading away Grayson Allen and Drew Holiday in a 3-way trade. So while the Bucks were sacrificing defense by shipping up Drew Holiday, they were getting one of the best offensive stars in the league. And they also improved their offense with Malik Beasley from the Lakers. They also fired Coach Budenholzer over the summer and hired rookie coach Adrian Griffin. This future lineup of Dame, Middleton, Beasley, Giannis, and Lopez was looking like an absolute juggernaut on offense. But this devious plan actually backfired on Milwaukee, having all types of problems on defense, Damian Lillard having an off year, and losing countless games they should have won. So the Bucks tried to fix this by getting coach Doc Rivers, who had plenty of experience under his belt compared to a rookie head coach Adrian Griffin. The Bucks finished 2024 barely getting the 3rd seed, and the worst luck struck them in April. Giannis, during one of the final games of the regular season against the Celtics, strained his calf, and when the Bucks went down 2-1 against the Pacers, Damian Lillard hurt his Achilles and would be out for the rest of the series. And just like that, the Milwaukee Bucks were reliving the nightmare they swear would never happen from last year. So this really brings up a major question. What actually happened to the Milwaukee Bucks during the Giannis and Middleton era? Besides 2021, what stopped this hyper-talented Milwaukee Bucks team from becoming the next modern-day dynasty? Luck is a real determining factor in winning games, seasons, and championships, and most fans won't actually admit how much of a factor luck has on winning. The Milwaukee Bucks have been on both sides of this coin. Hot streaks, injuries, and other uncontrollable factors all play a role into winning. In 2019, the Toronto Raptors got hot at the right time, winning 4 straight games against the Bucks after going down 2-0, and as soon as they hit the NBA Finals, Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson both got injured. In 2022, Chris Middleton goes down in the first round against the Bulls. If Middleton was available, the Bucks would have had a really good chance of beating the Celtics, then beating the Heat in the conference finals, and possibly getting ring number 2 and keeping Curry at 3 rings. In 2023, Giannis in Game 1 suffered a lower back contusion and missed 2.5 games. Combined with the Heat getting red hot at the right time, this resulted in the best team in the league getting bounced by an 8 seed. And if the Bucks' luck couldn't get any worse, both Giannis and Dame got injured in the first round in 2024. But let's just not pity the Bucks here. They've also been on the receiving end of some incredible luck. In 2021, the league was riddled with injuries. The Brooklyn Nets were without Kyrie Irving and had a limp James Harden. Kawhi was injured, the Golden State Warriors, who won a championship the following year, were hurt, and the Lakers, who won a prior championship, were dealing with injuries as well. Sometimes it's really just the last man standing wins, or the last healthy team standing in this situation. And if we really want to talk about luck, well, look no further than this shot right here. If Kevin Durant's foot was just 1 inch behind the line, the Nets probably win that NBA Finals. As much as people don't want to admit it, luck plays a huge factor in winning in sports, but to call everything the Milwaukee Bucks have or haven't done lucky or unlucky would just be ignorant, a scapegoat for what really happened, because there were things in their control that they did not handle well. The Milwaukee Bucks over the last 5 years have had all the talent in the world on their rosters, enough talent to win multiple championships in that window. When looking at the controllables for the Bucks, 2 things that have held these all-time talented rosters back from winning multiple championships is coaching and inadequate role players. As soon as the Bucks got Chris Middleton and Giannis in 2013, a ticking timer had just started for the organization to build a coherent team around the two. Not only is it hard enough to win a championship in the NBA, but being located in a small market city like Milwaukee only makes it more challenging. It took the Bucks about 5 to 6 years from this trade to really build a championship contending roster. In 2019 against the Raptors, Toronto deployed a strategy that no other team had really done before. They built a wall between Giannis and the paint, making it extremely hard for Giannis to get buckets down low. This scheme from Toronto would force the other players from the Bucks to beat them, and should have been a wake-up call to Coach Bud to make adjustments to the offense. But as you know, neither of these 2 things happened. Chris Middleton, Eric Bledsoe, Brook Lopez, and Nikola Mirotic were all supposed to aid Giannis in the offense, but couldn't step up in the moment. And Coach Bud refused to make any adjustments to get the Bucks better looks on offense. Fast forward to 2020, the Miami Heat, seeing the success the Raptors found guarding the Bucks, did something very similar. They did their own version of building a wall in the paint. They forced Giannis to shoot threes. They were extra physical with him and limited his impact in transition by making sure to get back on defense quick. So once again, the players around Giannis had to step up for them to win that series, and Coach Bud should have made adjustments in game. But once again, players like Middleton, George Hill, Eric Bledsoe, and Wes Matthews were all very inefficient when the offense broke down. and Coach Bud didn't do squat to stop the bleeding again. In 2021, the Bucks acquired Drew Holiday and had an absolutely loaded defense, with defensive star Drew, former DPOI Giannis, and one of the best shot blockers in the league in Brook Lopez. And despite the Bucks' quote-unquote nothing offense that uses very little sets and just relies on their talent to win, despite this offense, they won a championship from their insane defense. In 2022, in Game 7 against the Celtics, where the Bucks needed the production from their supporting cast the most, Wes Matthews shot 1 of 5, Grayson Allen shot 0 for 6, Pat Connaughton shot 1 for 6, Drew Holiday went 0 for 6 from 3, Brook Lopez shot 1 of 6 from 3, and George Hill didn't even score. These are the guys that are supposed to knock down shots around Giannis. The Bucks shot a painful, mind-blistering 4 of 33 from deep in a winner-takes-all Game 7. The Celtics, on the other hand, made 22 three-pointers. In 2023, the Bucks were leaving Drew Holiday on an island with Jimmy Butler the whole series, and instead of adjusting the defense to get more help on Jimmy or put someone bigger on him that can be more physical with him, Coach Bud did nothing and watched Michael Jordan's son average 37 points a game this series on 60% from the field and 44% from 3. Coach Bud was shortly fired after this failure, and the Bucks, instead of going for an established coach like Nick Nurse, Frank Vogel, or Monty Williams, who were all available in the 2023 offseason, all coaches with playoff success under their belt, the Bucks for some reason opted in to get a rookie head coach for a championship contending team. And while Coach Adrian Griffin had a really good 30-13 record, it was clear that he didn't truly have the respect and trust from his players, and that the Bucks were winning games purely off of talent. And as soon as they realized this, it was already too late, getting a coach with a grocery list of blown playoff leads. The 2024 season for the Bucks was really a mess. A team with Giannis and Dame shouldn't be struggling to get the 3 seed in the East. The future for the Milwaukee Bucks could be very scary if they continue to have lackluster coaches, role players who don't show up in the postseason, and bad luck with injuries. The Bucks are only getting older and their championship window is closing very fast. If you guys have anything else to add to the situation that I forgot about, let me know in the comments below.